let's get this going. Welcome to the MandaLore podcast, the definitive podcast for Star Wars and Disney Plus. Who here listens to the show regularly? Whoa, so we got a lot of new people in here. Okay, so we are a weekly podcast. We cover everything on Disney Plus. Mandalorian, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka coming up, all the shows, Bad Batch, animation, everything we've been doing. So we just finished Mandalorian Season 3, we just finished Bad Batch Season 2. Who's watching Bad Batch? Okay, awesome. So I got a couple questions here. I'm just going to run through, or I should say information. I'm going to run through real quick. I got some prizes here I'm going to reward at the end, so pay attention, guys. This is officially Mandalore, episode number 116. We've done 116 episodes now. So thanks for being here to be part of that. That is a lot of talking about Star Wars. My partner, Dee Vizsla, otherwise known as David Conahan. We have Star Wars name. He is Dee Vizsla. I am Cyber Ren, otherwise known as Martin. You'll hear that on the show. We usually have a big introduction, lots of music, lots of special effects and stuff. Dee Vizsla is in Versailles, Kentucky. That's how far he is right now, talking to us. I've never actually met him in person, but we've been podcasting together for quite a few years now. We both have other podcast shows. His is called Inside the Force, where he does a weekly show with all kinds of stuff, talking about Star Wars, bringing you all the news you could ever handle about what's coming out. He talks about books, comics, everything. My other show is called Tomorrow's Legends, where I talk about all the CW Arrowverse shows. So right now we're covering Superman and Lois and The Flash. We did Legends of Tomorrow, we did Arrow, we did all of them. So yeah, a little bit of information, keep in your minds, guys. I'll ask you some questions at the end. So let's talk about Bad Batch first. Big question. What is the fate of Crosshair? What's going on with him? Because what I want to know is, did everybody watching this season expect him to come back in some capacity and either help the team or still be against the team? What would you guys say? This is a very interactive show, so I'm going to be asking questions. We want audience feedback. We want to hear what our fans are thinking. So, you thought he was coming? You didn't think he was coming back? No? Okay, let's do. Crosshair's going to come back and join the team. Half the room is up. I'm going to have to move this camera around so you can see. Hands up, guys. There you go. Okay, and not coming back. He's still going to hunt them down. A little bit less. Okay, so we're leaning towards him coming back to help the team. We didn't get that though. Did we, Vizsla? We got a Crosshair laying flat out on a slab, still hooked up. So how is Crosshair gonna come back? What is gonna happen? Because if you think about how the show ended, nobody knows where he is. The last mission with Hunter and the gang was to go get information to find out where he is. Well, that didn't happen. They got blown up out of there, out of the secret base, and they're trying to get across that sky rail, and you guys know what happened. We'll talk about that shortly. They never did find out the information. So they don't know where Crosshair is, and now Omega is also there with them. How are they going to get Crosshair back? Vizsla, you got a little theory for us? Got guesses? Get you involved here?
Of how to get Crosshair back. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot of investigating, I think, in the first part of the next season. They're going to have to do the same thing they did there, is either get it out of an Imperial or look for clues around that where this base is going to be. So I think that's going to be the early part of the season. I think it might take a couple episodes, though. I don't think we're going to get that. I think the whole part of the next season is going to be really about saving Crosshair, saving Omega. So it's going to be a lot of them kind of going around and interrogating and finding other clones and seeing if they can get answers.
Yeah, and we know Hunter's not going to let up because Omega's kind of become like his daughter. He's not going to let up. And I brought this up on the show. I thought it was kind of funny. He was willing to Crosshair, we can't save him. Whatever. Let's go settle down on the new island. But as soon as Omega was caught, he's like, that's it. We are not stopping until we find out where she is. So, okay, if he's going to spend the first part of the season looking for information as to where they are, what are Omega and Crosshair going to do? Because they're basically trapped on a cloning facility where they might be experimented on. What's going to happen there, do you think? Anyway, let's throw some information.
Crosshair breakouts.
Okay, so he's going to wake up And do you think he's going to see Omega and be like, oh, you know, holy crap, let's get out of here?
Something's going to trigger it, and I think Omega is just going to have to kind of battle with his emotions over a couple episodes and bring him back to the senses. They're going to try and escape. Probably get caught, and then the crew comes and gets him. That seems the standard.
Yeah, because he tried on his own already, but mind you, he wasn't 100%. So here's a question I want to ask you guys. Did we see Crosshair finally realize that choosing to be on the Empire side was a bad decision? Do we think he realizes that now? Yeah? Okay, that's what we think too. I think the last couple, especially with what was the last guy's, the scientist guy that was experimenting on him there? I forget the character's name. The newest scientist there that was on him. Hemlock, thank you. He was basically telling Crosshair, like, you're worthless. We're gonna work on you. You're nothing, and that's it. You're property of the Empire. So I think those final words is what sunk into Crosshair. Like, dang it, I made a mistake. But will he be able to step up and tell Hunter, I'm sorry, I made a mistake? Or do you think they'll just, hey man, we're brothers, water under the bridge kind of thing, right? Yeah. Cool. Next question I want to talk about is, will he join the team? If you say he's going to break out and he's going to help him and Omega are going to work together, maybe it'll be time. Maybe they're going to be breaking out as Hunter and the rest of the guys are finally showing up and they're going to join up and try to get out of there. Will Crosshair join back to the team? You think so? Hands up. Will Crosshair join the team after a rescue? How about Crosshair might not make it out of the next season? Half and half, Vizsla. Where were you leaning on Vizsla?
Unfortunately, I don't see him. I don't see him surviving next season.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. In fact, I don't know if I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them actually don't make it out. But could be wrong. But there's a whole lot of time between now and anything else, and I'm not sure they're going to survive, or they get out of the way and just kind of stay out of the fight. But Crosshair, unfortunately, I think is going to not make it.
So that would bring our team down to just Hunter and Wrecker. I got a big question here. Could Tech have survived? Did anyone see that coming? First of all, us losing Tech, you saw it coming. Before we got to him dangling from the cables? Really? Okay, what gave you that feeling?
How many of them have actually had character development in the way of emotional and romantic relationships?
Right, yeah, good question.
What happens
Good
after
point.
you get a romantic relationship?
One that he was pretty nervous to really pursue, yeah. Yeah, no, I was talking about this on the podcast, that I think Tech is the most well-rounded of all the team. Like when we first meet him, we think he's just the nerdy guy. So he's the guy with the goggles, he has all the smarts, he's the guy that plays with computer gadgets all the time, right? But he kept proving himself that he's just as heroic, he's just as adept at warfare and fighting and doing all the acrobatics and everything. So it feels like he's a little bit of everybody. He's like a jack of all trades, and because Wrecker's very much just strong, just blah, 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 and take everybody out. And Hunter's very skilled at his precision and stuff. But I don't know, I found Tech just became a very well-rounded character at the end. I think he's the all-star. I think he's the MVP of the team. So who thinks he could have survived? So people here that haven't watched Bad Batch, will it be a spoiler to you guys if I say what happened to him? Okay, so there's in the finale of Bad Batch season 2, they're on a rail car that's way up in the mountains, and they're hanging over miles and miles of nothing. The car gets derailed, and he drops off, and he shoots up a grappling hook, and he's hanging by literally a thread, and he can't get back up, and he sacrifices himself to save the rest of the team. So, because when he lets go, the rail car is able to get back on the rail and keep going. So he shoots the rail and he plummets to his death, as far as we know. And it's a long fall. I mean, he could have gone in free fall. Vizsla, what do you think? Survived? Not survived? We talked about this.
I think he's not survived.
That's what I felt too. But we were trying to come up with some theories as to how he can survive. So those of you that think he survived, I want to hear how. Pull a what? A bucky. Are you talking about Marvel Universe?
No, Darth Maul. Actual Darth Maul. I
Uh,
mean, he was cut in half, felt probably longer, and still survived. I mean, Echo also, so, but.
Very true.
Echo got, I'm sure it was fine. Maybe some magical force wind creature saved you or something. You don't know what's out there.
well, I mean, everyone says we didn't see a body, right? That's always the general, but
One of the
Very
things that
firm, no body, no death.
Well, one of the
Yeah.
things that they did to set it up, though, in my opinion, was when the show the goggles. Like he's like, "This is what's left of your friend," and he tosses him text goggles, and I'm like,
Right.
"Why just the goggles though?" And they actually don't look that bad. Like, did you actually find him and are keeping him and are like you saved him somehow with cold tool or whatever, and you're just trying to convince them,
Yeah.
to not find him or whatever.
yeah.
So, goggles aren't proof, and it wouldn't be the first time.
Here's the questions that I posed on the show. He got the goggles awfully fast. I mean, they just crashed the train,
Yeah, exactly.
and we're kind of waking up with, oh, what happened? And there he is, boom, with the goggles.
Yeah, how'd you get those? Did you search for Tech's body specifically to find the goggles? No, but
Yeah.
they didn't find them.
That's what I'm saying, so because like the bad that they pass whatever, goes to the planet where there's the bar with the Trando.
Yeah, the trend, sit.
Yeah, sit.
Sit.
So like, we don't know what time has passed between that
That's true.
and then, but
Good
still.
point.
Echo still looks pretty rough. Like, I'm not.
Well, Rucker's wearing a neck brace, right? So
Not Echo.
here's the ideas I came up with. If Tech is to survive, he's Tech. He is Mr. Gadget Man, right? What if he had something in his backpack, like a parachute, or a set of wings, or something that he could pull up to save himself? He knew that he had that there. I'm going to save my team, blam, plummet to my death, and I'm okay. And maybe his goggles just fell off. I mean, he's falling for a long way. Who knows? But that's the only thing I can come up with that I think he saved himself knowing he could. Because we don't know what, he said, Plan 99, blam.
Yeah, that's.
What is Plan 99? What does that mean? Does that mean I'm sacrificing myself for the team? Does it mean, hey, come get me later, I'll be okay? Like,
Yeah, but then Hunter and Wrecker seem pretty sad because Mega's like, "Oh, what happened? Is Tech still alive?" And Hunter and Wrecker are just like, kind of giving the nah. Glad 99 is one of us die and the rest carry on vibes. But
I don't know.
again, though, we don't know what Plan 99 is. That's one of the biggest questions I had at the end of season 2. I'm like, well, okay, so what's Plan 99? Explain.
And I also argued that if they bring it back, would it not cheapen the way the show ended? It was a lot of emotion. Everybody's very, very sad. Omega's crying. Hunter's trying to console her.
Yeah, but I'm pissed about it.
Oh, so-
He just started getting actual stuff together, and you're like, you have so much hope, and you're like, he's gonna, there's this relationship going on, and he's evolving, and again, character development, and it's so good. And then it feels almost arbitrary that they kill him. They're like, oh, we built all of this up for the entire season, and now he's dead. Trying to be you. Yeah, like double burn right there. Like,
Good point. You had something over here?
Yeah, I'm 99 for sure. The first thing that I thought of when I did that is back in Clone Wars when we had 99 sacrifices. So for the 501st.
Good memory.
So he put himself out there to get more ammo, and he did end up making it out. So I think it would be a really good tip off to him if they called by 99 that after 99. So that's my thoughts.
So, but you're still saying it is a sacrificial move?
Yeah, I don't think
Okay.
Tech would come back, just because, like you mentioned, with like how emotionally heavy it was to end an episode.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something you definitely got to build up to, and just to kind of take that away, bringing it back would almost, I don't know if it would honor him as much.
Yeah, these are the mixed feelings, right? It's like, of course, we don't want to lose any of our characters, especially Tech, because he was a lot of people's favorites. But you lose them, and it makes it that much harder to feel. Vizsla, let's get you back in here. Like, what do you think of those theories? Are everybody okay?
Yeah, no, I think they're valid. I will say that I don't know if everybody realizes there's a great book that just came out called Star Wars Timelines. I'm talking to Cyber about this. Everybody see this?
Yeah.
I'm talking to Cyber about this book. This is like one of my most anticipated books of all time because it's very thick. As you can see, it is pretty much everything that's happened roughly throughout the eras of Star Wars in order, from High Republic right now through the sequel trilogy. So, in short, just to kind of make this even more confusing, I think about the tech thing, is they have little boxes in red, notable deaths throughout this book, and during that time period of the Bad Batch, it doesn't list Tech's death. So I don't know if that was maybe a spoiler because this book maybe got published before the series ended. I don't know that for sure, but food for thought.
Food for thought. Yeah, there you go. Well, we'll have to wait and see. You guys know that Bad Batch has now they just said season 3 is the final season. So hopefully they wrap everything up and give us those answers. But the last point I want to bring up with Bad Batch, what is Omega's story going to be in the end? Because me and Vizsla thought Bad Batch is going to go at least 5 seasons, like Clone Wars, that go maybe make it to 7 seasons. Because they have such a big story with Omega to stretch that out. Will she find out her destiny? Why was she made? All these questions. Will she ever meet Boba Fett? I mean, that's her brother. He's the Alpha, she's the Omega, first and last. That's what those names mean. So is he the first of a batch and she's the last of a batch? Or are they the first of the siblings, last? There's so many questions we have about these two and what it could possibly mean. And then they throw in at the end of the season, Emery Carr being her older sister. Well, what's going on there? Is Emery Carr a pure clone, like Omega and Boba Fett is, or does she have the accelerated aging like all the rest of the clones? What's going on there? So there is a lot to wrap up in season 3. I want to hear your guys' ideas of what is Omega's story going to be in the end? Where do you think they're going to take it?
I have a quick theory about her being a clone and that ending bomb of her being the sister of the doctor chick, because even from season 1, I'm just like, okay, so why would, I didn't think it was possible to take Jango Fett's DNA and make a female version, because it's straight across, right? She would be a male. So then at the end when they drop it, I'm like, oh, maybe she's actually a clone of the medical chick. Like she's a clone, but not of Jango Fett. She's a different kind of clone. And I'm like, then there's like a whole bunch of like, well, why clone her and blah, 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 but still, like instead of, because if they have cloning technology, they're not limited to just cloning Jango Fett. As long as they have DNA or whatever, they can clone whoever they want. And we've seen that pattern in Mandalorian as well, where they find the lab and then you start getting hints that they're trying to clone Grogu because they want the Mandalorian counts. They want to start cloning that, right?
Yeah.
So cloning's not limited to Jango Fett. I mean, that's where the clone harmony came from, but I'm just saying.
That is a crazy thought that's never crossed my mind as well. That the girls might not be related to Jango or Boba at all. What do you think?
Yeah, the only thing that I think maybe counters that just a tad is, I think during the first season, right, when we got told that, the reason her name is Omega is because Boba Fett is the Alpha. So it sounds like they were trying to tell us that, it is a Jango clone, it's from Jango, an unaltered clone. That's why she's only, 8 or 9, 10 years old at that point. Or no, I guess she would be a little older than that, but, so just the fact that she's unaltered kind of sets it up to where her and Boba are kind of the same age, and they were just kind of maybe split, and they were able to change her sex in a sense. So, but the Emery Carr thing is intriguing because she is older. So does that mean she has accelerated aging, since she is different age than Omega. That, I'm telling you, that was a big shocker. I don't know. I'm not sure where they're trying to go with that yet, but they really threw it into that. That was a really interesting change and something that obviously keep us on our toes for the entire all season. But
Yeah, until we get back.
I don't know if she's related fully like that. I don't think I wouldn't say she's a clone of Reveries, but that could be what they're doing.
She looked, I mean, when you saw Emery, she looked like an older Omega, right? Like they held the camera on her long enough, you're like, oh yeah, I could see Omega looking like that. Obviously she dyed her hair, but we don't know who dyed whose hair first. Yeah, well these are the questions left us with, so hopefully season 3, hopefully Filoni, you know, they write the story well enough for the season to give us the answers that we want. Maybe these characters will move into live action somewhere. We're seeing that happen a lot. Cartoons are coming to life. We see it coming up in Ahsoka with our favorite characters. And I don't know, did you see the Ahsoka in the audience here?
Yes. Awesome.
So yeah, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. All right, let's get to some Mandalorian. I know everyone's here for Mandalorian, right? Yes, everybody? All right. Who loved this season?
Oh no, we might have to go.
You haven't watched season 3 yet?
No,
Might
yeah,
be spoiled.
we're trying to get through Rebels first because we know that they show up.
Yeah.
So we're trying to, she's never seen it, so I'm trying to get her through Rebels because I want to
Okay.
get all of that before we watch season 3. So now we're kind of in that weird medium of, we can't watch it without the Rebels.
Well, we'll have to brainwash you after this because there's things we're going to talk about tonight. So.
All right, we'll take that. Thanks for.
So, loving the season. This was a big question because we had some of our listeners send in feedback that they're getting tired of all the negativity out there, and we addressed on the show that to not listen to the complainers out there. They're a very small group compared to the passionate fans like us that love this stuff. Just ignore them. Who cares about them? This was a good season. I argued on the show the reason it was a good season is because it was all about the Mandalorians. We got to learn so much more about their culture, how they behave, how they interact with each other, what their belief system is. All of these things that we just never knew. I mean, if you look at when we first got introduced to Mandalorian, it was Boba Fett got 6 lines over the course of a trilogy. We know nothing about Mandalorians. And we're fine. And we got a lot in Clone Wars and Rebels with the animations, you know, with Obi-Wan and Satine, you know, having a little relationship that they had. We did see a lot there, but I just enjoyed the season. And of course, Bo-Katan. I mean, Bo-Katan fans, yeah, she rocks. She's my favorite. Did you guys meet Katie Sackhoff when she was here last year? Yeah, awesome. She's fantastic. We spent a lot of time talking to her and just getting Bo-Katan autographs from her. So most of the season was about Bo-Katan, and I was personally happy with it. I love that she got the forefront and got to really tell her story and go save her people, bring everybody together. I love that the armor understood that and recognized that you walk both paths. You are the rightful leader to this, so I'm just going to basically support you and help you. And even Din Djarin himself, he said, Lady Kreese, I'm going to follow you until your song has been written. And it just shows us that Din himself never truly wanted to be the leader of Mandalore. That's not what he ever wanted. He just wants to work, collect his bounties, follow somebody else. He didn't even care about the Darksaber. Yeah, it's a cool weapon to have, but yeah, he tried to give it away a couple times, right? So truly it was Bo-Katan's leader. A show of hands here, who believes that she is the rightful leader of Mandalore? Pretty much everybody that's left. Keep your hands up for again for a second. There we go, just so we can see. Yeah, pretty much everybody. So that, yeah, exactly that. Do you think she's going to return for season 4? You guys think?
She's getting her own show.
Vizsla, someone's on your theory, getting her own show. Tell us what you think, Vizsla. Why do you think we're not getting Bo-Katan next season? Vizsla.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Why do I think we're not getting her?
Mhm.
Or are we getting her?
Whatever you think. I'll put words in your
I
mouth.
don't think she's going to be in season 4. I think if she does, it's going to be a little smaller part like she was when she was introduced, because just the way it ended, I think it was really a close to her chapter on the show. I agree with whoever said that. I think the next step would actually be to get her own show going with what the whole Mandalorian crew there that's on Mandalore now, and how they rebuild that area, and what challenges they face throughout the planet there, and still issues with possibly the Empire. So I think our chapter's close on season 4. I think it's all gonna be about Mando and Grogu.
Right. She might come in for a guest appearance here or there. We might go to her for something or whatever. She might call on him for help. I mean, a lot of people are talking about why there's a romance between them. I didn't see it. I don't think there's going to be anything between the two of them. Maybe way down the line, but it just never came to be. Let's talk about the armorer. Here is a big question that even our listener base, we get an average about 500 to 600 downloads a week. They're split on this idea. Half of our listeners think she's a planted spy. A lot of people thought she was working for Gideon. That didn't seem to turn out, but other people are thinking she might be a deep planted spy for Thrawn. I don't know. Me and Bisley kind of argued the point. We don't think she's a spy. What's the general feeling here? Is the armor a spy? One person in the audience. Everyone else thinks she's true to Mandalore.
True. There's something there, but I don't know if spy or true. There's because there was one shot, and I think this last episode where it was like her came from her feet up, and it seems like a bad guy shot.
Oh.
Camera shot. So that's what I was like.
So the way they film it is giving you hints. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's right, because they do. There's music cues for good guys and bad guys, and you're right, they do film them differently. So that's a good point to make. My feeling is that she's not, because even if she was a spy, I think she knows too much. Like, she is so ingrained in the Mandalore culture and everything about the history. I mean, she taught Bo-Katan a lot, she taught Din Djarin a lot. Like, I just think she knows too much, and everybody seems to follow her. Like, her and Paz Vizsla has been together for a long, long time. So unless he's a deep planted spy too, I don't know. My feeling is just that she knows too much. She's too important to the tribe I think to be a spy. And I felt like she proved herself in this last episode. Right when you thought she could have, she's I'm going to take all the injured people, fly up with the gauntlet and get the ship back. A lot of people were like, that's the point, you're in trouble, she's going to take out your ship. And she didn't. She turned around, she came back with the troops and helped win the fight. So, Bisley, you got anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I think she's as Mandalore as you get. I mean, seems like the natural leader, actually, of the group. So the fact that she's willing to follow Bo-Katan says a lot about that. I think that defines really her feeling and her devotion to the creed and things like that. So I think she's as devoted as they get. I don't think she's anywhere near a spy.
Okay, we'll see. There's a small chance. We'll see. Next. Oh yeah, yes,
I just had a thought. Like, I tried to avoid online as much as I could, but ultimately I ended up on the theories and stuff. And ultimately, there's still Lawrence. Like, that keeps coming back up over and over and over. Who else is out of doors?
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't been great. But ultimately, there's the title of the spy, so the second one. Why is it plural? Is it a biblical reference to the Jews taking back their homeland, and that's the Mandalorians? Or are they planting something bigger? And if it's not the armor, then who is the pluralized spy? We know it was the one Imperial who was obviously a spy.
Why Kane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is there another? And so that's what keeps me thinking, like, maybe it is that deep plant. But if it's not, then is there another one? And if they take away Axwolves and take away that storyline to be its own show or a smaller part, what does that lead to?
It's a good question. Bisley brought that up on there. Why was spies pluralized? Because did we really get a revelation of who else was considered a spy on the show? Did we just really, other than Elia Kane?
Yeah, we even theorized a little bit that maybe spies is just maybe a general title to all the Imperials that are, going through the amnesty program, but also feeding information to all the different warlords that they work for, because we saw that meeting of all the warlords. So there's many more Imperials that are trying to keep the Empire together, not just Gideon. So I'm sure a lot of them, all if not all of them, have spies planted throughout the galaxy, throughout the Republic, trying to figure out and get a heads up. So it could just be a general title that's referring to those spies like Elia Kane. That's what I kind of concluded to, because once we got through the next episode and there was no reference to it, I think that's what Favreau and Filoni were kind of doing, was just naming the general group of people that are working for these leaders inside the New Republic. So I don't think they're going to go beyond that, because I think we're past that now. I think we've moved on from that. I think it was good for us to debate it and have us talk about it, which is what they wanted, right?
Sometimes they just throw you off track, or it's a red herring. But yeah, I mean, there is potential. Like maybe there's somebody deep undercover that we haven't, it hasn't been revealed to us yet. It is a possibility. We can't totally write that off for sure. Yeah, go ahead.
What about the theory of maybe the armor is somebody that was on the Imperial side at one point? Maybe they fought on MandaLore way back when and knocked unconscious and lost everything. And then they were brought up as a Mandalorian and just so ingrained in everything that was Mandalore. They have lots of memories, but now they're Mandalorian. But something could trigger them back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you really can't say no to any theory until we get the answers, right? So, yeah, the thing with the horns, I did bring this up on the show, because people are looking at her horns going, oh my God, it looks just like Darth Maul's Mandalorian helmet and stuff. But we examined it closely. Darth Maul's helmet, his horns go all the way around like a crown. When you look at her helmet, it's just a half moon at the front. Or actually, sorry, it goes this way. It is not a ring. They're not the same at all. So I'm up in the air about that one. I'm thinking it's just personal choice to make her stand out because she is the armor. That gives her a bit of symbolism to look different than the rest of the Mandos. I don't know. Yeah? Sure, yeah, go ahead. Dathomirian. Yeah, maybe there's something under her helmet. Yeah, she has to fit them in there, right? There you go. Yeah.
Only the males ever had horns on Dathomir. The Night Witches, which were all females, never grew horns.
Okay, yeah. You say that, it made me think of Asajj Ventress, which is my favorite female character ever. Anybody here read the book Dark Disciple? Just a side note. Yeah. Did you hear the audiobook version of it?
No.
Get the audiobook version. It is Asajj true to the bone. That I cannot believe the voice acting is that good, and it makes that story so much better. Dark Disciple, guys, best Star Wars book ever written. I highly recommend it. It's all about Asajj Ventress' story. And what's the other guy that's in it? Why can't I never think of his name?
Quinlan Voss.
Quinlan Voss. He's a very popular character, yeah. Okay, last question about the armor, real quick. Will we ever see her face? I expected them to take off their helmet this season. No? No, everybody's shaking their head. We're never going to see her face. I mean, Emily Swallow's here this weekend. Is that?
If, again, this is going back to the theory of if somebody got lost her memory or something, if she gets triggered, she'll take it off and reveal that she was somebody from back in the Wars. Otherwise,
Possibility.
she's a Mandalorian.
Yeah, possibility. I just felt that this, with her saying, Bo-Katan, you walk both paths, you're a true leader, I thought the armor and maybe Pazmo, so maybe a couple of them were going to start changing their ideas and go, you know what, maybe it's okay. I thought, because when she walked out and Bo-Katan had her helmet off, I thought a few of them were going to maybe possibly change, but it never happened. So we'll have to see as that story goes on if the joining of the two beliefs start to affect each other. We'll have to see what happens there. Let's talk a little bit about Grogu. Did you guys hear? It's been officially announced by Favreau and Filoni that he was with Luke for 2 years. 2 years of training. And that, a lot of people, because by watching the show, it seemed like he was there for a couple of weeks maybe. Like, well, how much could he have learned, right? But he was actually there. We talked about this on the podcast. It was that he was there for 2 years. That allowed him to get a lot of training. And Vizsla, maybe you can explain it to us, the difference between how long Luke was with Yoda versus how long Grogu was with Luke, and how much training difference there could be.
Well, I will say that again, that's the first thing I went and looked for in this book, this timeline book that I just got. And according to this timeline book, this book is just saying that season 1 and 2, and even Book of Boba Fett. Again, this book is still only the course of a year. So when Favreau is saying this different timeline, I don't know if he's actually confirmed with Lucasfilm or if they've talked about this. So this could be Filoni's process and then the actual timeline. So I don't know what's true or not until they actually come out with something. But again, this book is supposed to be the correct way to do it. So anyway,
It's the Bible.
as far as training goes, yes, Luke was only with Yoda for, Empire Strikes Back takes place over the course of like a week or two, like 8 to 9 days. So Luke wasn't there very long. He kind of trained only, 3 or 4 or 5 solid days. Whereas even if Grogu was with Luke for several months, or in this instance, like you're saying, maybe a year or two, he's going to have significantly a lot more training. But also, you got to remember, he was also a youngling for a long time. We don't know exactly how long he was in the Jedi Temple getting trained, but he was trained a lot more during that point in time versus Luke's time, because Luke, like he said, was only really allowing Grogu to remember his training more so than actually training to do things. So what Luke did was awaken Grogu's training, I think, and now he's understands and remembers what he did, so he's able to carry that on and build on it. Even though he's not getting day-to-day training, he is going to be able to still build on it, just like Luke built on it through the year between Empire and Jedi and became a masterful Jedi by himself.
Yeah. So that's why we're seeing Grogu. I think as the show progresses, we'll see him developing his skills more and more as it goes, which is cool. I mean, I love seeing Mando and Grogu. What a pair. I mean, that finale episode, and there's one of our listeners posted a meme on our Facebook page. A family that power slides together stays together. And if you saw in that last episode, we saw Din Djarin power slide on his knees to take a shot, and then we saw Grogu follow right up. He power slides, does a force push, and then Bo-Katan power slides in and shield blocks them. It's pretty cool. Those guys are awesome together. It's so much fun. I have a funny question here. Will Grogu ever get a change of clothes? Are we tired of this brown robe? That is the most cumbersome thing to be trying to run around in. I don't know how he doesn't trip over that thing. He needs a much more fitting suit. I know, take yourself out of the realism of it. It's because he's mechanical. You gotta hide stuff, but he needs a new set of clothes. Question for the audience: we saw him connect with the Mythosaur as one of the last shots. Do you guys think he's ever going to meet that Mythosaur? Hands up, so I can show Vizsla. Almost the whole room. Vizsla's not so sure about it. I think he is. I think they were building that story up. We saw him tame smaller creatures. We saw him tame the Rancor in Boba Fett. Now he's just working his way up, right? The Mythosaur is the king of beasts. Why wouldn't he meet it? Why wouldn't he be the one that touches it on its nose and befriends it? It might not happen next season. It might not happen. It might be one of the last things we see, but I think it's going to happen. What do you think?
I don't think it's going to happen.
This guy, eh? Come on.
I think like Bo-Katan, the Mythosaur is part of that story and not necessarily a part of our Mando and Grogu story anymore. I don't think there's a reason for them to necessarily go back to Mandalore until they're ready to go back. And by that point, I think Mandalore is going to be on its way back to being what it was. I'm not even sure that the Mythosaur will ever show itself again, even with the Mandos that are on there. I think, it was such a mythical, it is a mythical, but it's such a legendary creature that no one ever thought they would see, but they believed in it. Some probably didn't even really truly believe in it, as you can tell by the armor's surprise a little bit about Bo-Katan seeing it. But I don't think it'll be there. I thought if we were going to see it, we were going to see it in the finale. Coming out and fighting against the Empire and trying to help restore Mandalore with the group. That's when I thought you would see it. Now I don't know the reasoning why you would bring it out, other than if you needed the Mandalores for some reason, believe stronger about the creed and things like that. So I think that story is kind of closed already.
A lot of people thought that monster that came out was the Mythosaur first. I mean, we all kind of thought that, but then you saw it had the big hammer tail, and that was just a giant, what do they call those dinosaurs? I can't remember the ones with the hammer tails, but anyway, well, that's what it ended up more being.
Ankylosaurus, I think, right?
Ankylosaurus, that's right. We had a question down here in the front?
Could it also be possible that could just be because the Mythosaur is so tied to MandaLore, that could also just be a representation that MandaLore may be coming back now that they've seen kind of the Mythosaur could represent that kind of restoration of MandaLore.
Well, the artwork herself said this is the second coming of MandaLore because that was part of their mythology, is that when the second coming of the Mythosaur is, that's when MandaLore will rise again. So yeah, it's a very valid point. And it ties into what Vizsla was saying. It could be, yes, it's there, somebody witnessed it, that's all it's going to be. Just the belief that somebody saw it is probably enough for them, and we might not ever get it. We might not ever see it. So, yeah, go ahead.
There's a term called Czechoslovak. You see that in the first act. It's going to be used again. So those are good writers.
So you think you'll come back again? Okay. Yes. Yeah. I thought a lot of people are thinking different things, and I'm okay either way. I think I'd love to see it. I mean, obviously, Favreau and Filoni love their monsters. Look at this season. Each beast kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like they're in love with their big monsters. So maybe that'll be the ultimate one that comes out. Last question about Grogu here. Do you think he's ever gonna find out? Are we ever, as viewers, gonna find out where he's from, what his species are? You think that's gonna be a mystery? It's gonna stay a mystery. Yes. What's that? Yeah, well, I mean, George Lucas himself said he wants that to be a mystery. Yeah? I thought you were waving at 5 minutes, okay, we have 5 minutes. So, yeah, me personally, I think it'd be nice to get a little bit of detail, like even just the name of the whole planet or something like that. We don't have to go and find out about everything. Maybe that's part of the story, is that there isn't very many of them left alive. The point I want to key in on, though, is the armorer seemed to know. Because she had that line when Din asked about his family, she had that line, she goes, well, his family is far away from here, and I don't even know if they're still alive. So it seemed like she knew where Grogu's from. She seemed to recognize the species and where they're from. That's the point that I'm hanging on, kind of thing. So we got the symbol there 5 minutes ago. One last quick little point there. Who is excited for Ahsoka? That's what we're getting next. Yeah, you guys can cheer because I know you are. That trailer is amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm blown. That's probably one of the best trailers they've ever released. It is phenomenal looking. We know we're getting Ahsoka, we know we're getting Sabine, we know we're getting Hera. We saw a hologram of Ezra. Will Zeb Aurelios join them? I know he was in it. We discussed on the show, Zeb might not be a full member of the cast just because he's all CGI. It might be too much to have him there constantly, so he might come and go, but the fact that we got 3 super amazing female characters and they're going to be leading a new show, that is an amazing thing. It's going to be awesome. Sabine Wren, you guys heard my name, I'm Cyber Wren. On the show, I like to play a little thing that I'm the long-lost brother of the Wren family. Sabine doesn't even know I exist because I disappeared before she was born. So that's my little personal story where I got the name from. And D. Vizsla, obviously, he's related to Pre Vizsla and all those guys, right? So that's where we get our names from. Are you guys looking forward to Skeleton Crew as well when that comes out? Pretty mysterious. We have no idea what's going on with that. So we will talk. At the end of the show, I want you guys to come up and get a podcast card so it has all the information on it. We talk about all the TV shows on Star Wars Plus we do, or Disney Plus we do some movie reviews. We discuss a lot of things, a lot of fun stuff. So thank you everybody for coming out today. I'm going to do a quick little awards thing. I got a small, a medium, and a large. So for people that want a small, that wear a small, what number of episode, or what MandaLore episode are we on? We said it first? Do you want a small? Yeah, I'll give you the large. All right, 116. Let me just make sure it's the large. That's the large. Oh. Where is D. Vizsla residing? What's the city name? Versailles, Kentucky? Who said that? Small and medium.
Pretty close, pretty close.
What's that, Vizsla? What'd you say?
Pretty close. Versailles.
Versailles. Okay, I got a small left here, guys. What is the name of my other show, and what is the name of Vizsla's other show? Close. Anybody else? I'll give you, if you guys can name one of them, either or. My other podcast or Vizsla's other podcast. Go ahead. Yes. As small as all I have left, is that okay for me? Okay. I do have one other special prize. JL Fett, are you here? Come on up, sir. We had a special 100th episode celebration where our feedbackers, JL Fett here, sends in feedback every once in a while. I got a special prize pack for him here, and I knew he was going to be here today, so this is celebrating our 100th episode. There you go. Thank you. You got something to say?
So these guys, I know they put a lot of hard work into this. I really appreciate all everything you guys do. And for that, I actually had some max beef for you guys.
Oh man, look at that.
I know this guy's trying to get stuff.
Okay, so I'll just ship one of the off the Vizsla. See that, Vizsla? Got some nice, freaking cool drinking cups.
We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Jim. See, now that's what that's beautiful. All right, guys, I appreciate everybody being here. I hope you all sign up to the podcast. It's the MandaLore podcast. Come grab a card. Whatever podcast app you use, iTunes, whatever, Stitcher, whatever. There's so many of them out there. Spotify. We're on all of them. Tune in. Come up, send us feedback. Say, hey, I was at the podcast, live podcast at the Expo, and I just want to say hi. Let us know, guys. Okay. Thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it. Business waving to you.
Thanks, everybody.